Victoria pumps the brakes on pets, SpaceX, California recall, all that and more coming up in today's Wade and Carter Show. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
5 years and you finally start pushing the buttons when I need you to.
There you go.
That's all it's been. How are you this morning?
I'm good. No, it's funny you say 5 years. Today's the 15th.
Yes.
Tomorrow is the
16th?
Yeah, it'll be the 5th year anniversary of when I met T-Lab. And then the 7th, tomorrow is our anniversary.
Better get this right.
Yeah. We got married on the 16th of 17. So we will have been married 4 years tomorrow. Now, we don't talk about anniversaries, birthdays, and all that on this program, but if we did, tomorrow would be a good morning for you to remind me. You could remind me to say happy anniversary to
I
my
have
wife.
A feeling probably most of our listeners would remind you.
Folks, remind me tomorrow that it's my anniversary. 4 years. 4 years and then 5 years total of knowing T-Lab.
Because you ain't getting any younger.
Huh?
Let's do this.
Speaking of pushing the right buttons.
Yeah, I got them all pushed the wrong way. There we go.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Do this. No, I'm not gonna restart the show.
Folks, exactly like yesterday. 73 degrees and mostly cloudy in Victoria, Texas, heading to a high today of 90. Very, very non-existent chance of rain today. So, yeah, just exactly like yesterday.
Except for the folks in southern Louisiana getting dumped on by Nicholas. So bringing rain to an area that still has, 500,000 people without power. I think another 100,000 in Louisiana had power knocked out because of Nicholas. So,
I don't know if I feel
it's tough on him.
Relieved, guilty, maybe a little bit guilty. I'll be honest. I haven't really thought about those folks much since the last storm when they lost all their power. That's kind of terrible, I think, on my part. I don't know. I'm assuming that the Cajun Navy is over there helping where they can. I'm assuming that all the power line professionals, the linemen, are very important. Yes, I mean, Glenn Campbell didn't write a song about the radio morning talk show host. He wrote a song about actually he didn't write it, but he sang a song about the linemen. I think there's a lot to be thankful for here in Victoria, and at the same time, be very aware that those people are going through a lot.
And how we dodged what became a Category 1 hurricane.
And Arena Shear comes in before you do the roll call, and she asked, what happened to your finger? So, folks, a man with 13 dogs. What do you think happened here? What do you think happened?
I don't have 13 dogs.
After last night.
Yeah.
After last night, a couple of rounds from the judge, and that's the end.
So, yeah.
Lexi took a bite out of Stanley.
No, Stanley took a bite out of Lexi, and then
I thought he was happy as long as he got his Stanley cakes.
He didn't get Stan cakes this week, and I was trying to separate him, and finger got where it shouldn't have. So these things happen.
Yeah, no, you're to Jeff.
Life of a dog rescuer. Rob Moore Knipling, first one in. Rena Scherer, second. Karen Webb, Jeff Finley, Marvin Mickish. Good morning. Scott Snow, Judge Posey checking in.
Hi, Judge.
H.R. Mallory.
HR's a holdover from the Posey show.
I'm assuming the stubble's starting to show on HR's dome.
Well, I don't know why I feel like. It's never crossed my mind that our listeners might listen to other radio programs throughout the day. And there's no better show than Bill Posey. I'm glad that you're listening to Bill Posey, but I feel kind of like that. It's like I went to the restroom and you danced with another guy. You know what I mean? It's like I was only off the air for 23 hours and I come back and find you listening to another show.
Well, he bills it as the Wade and Carter warm-up, so.
Sure. On another
There you
note, this morning I saw where Mr. John Clegg was listening to Bill Posey's show. So good morning, Mr. Clegg, because
BJ Nelson, Torrin Bales, Don says you met on the 17th of 16
married
and you were
on-
married on the 16th of 17.
Yeah.
Glad she's young enough to keep that straight.
and it matters to her. I learned that so early in our relationship that these are things that I need to be fixated on. Good morning, Sheriff
See, and
Louderback.
Cheryl and I, for the first 6-7 years of our marriage, we celebrated our anniversary on the wrong day.
Yeah.
We weren't off by months or weeks. We were off by one day, but we celebrated on the wrong day for ever until I think my aunt said something. No, your anniversary is actually yesterday.
But you know what? I mean, you know all
So
that.
yeah,
you know all the
it's awesome
details.
how that works
Worked
out.
out great. She's going to go to Napa Valley.
She
hang out
knows
for a
the
couple
reason why
days.
nobody else does.
Right? She's going to go to Napa Valley and hang out. She goes, well, what do we do out there? I go,
Drink wine.
Wineries, I guess. Okay, let me get my sweater. She checked the weather and came up with several key wardrobe additions. I mean, supposedly in the evenings right now, folks, in Napa Valley, it's like 80 during the day and like 53 at night. That cost me a few bucks.
Well, that's a 3. You need 3 seasons of clothes to go to Napa Valley for,
You
for
do.
the
You
4
need,
days
you
you'll
need
be
some
there.
like some short sleeve and shorts and yeah.
Tracy Price, good morning. Diana Hawes says
She is tough. She's a
she ain't dumb.
sweet lady. Saved my
I
life.
felt there was redemption in
Right.
you. October 4th, last day to register for vote for the November 2nd joint special election. You think this is part of the reason why turnout at elections is just tragically low in this country? Way too many of them.
I can see that. Like, what are we having a special election for?
Bonds and then I don't know what else.
That's why nobody goes to vote, no doubt. If you had voting days on certain days of the year and that was it, you'd be better served. Real quick plug, folks. Bill Posey asked us. This is Bill Posey, the chairman of the Republican Party here in Victoria County. There's a candidate school
This Saturday.
at Victoria Republican Party. That's on Main Street, 115 South Main. If you're going down Main Street, it's on the right side.
I believe historically that was the old Chesnick's Furniture building.
Originally.
I think so. Originally, yes.
And from 8:30 to 3, you can learn how to become an effective candidate. You can call Bill Posey at 727-7029, 727-7029.
And I don't think it's just for Democrats. Anybody who wants to run for office can
Republicans.
go. And I mean,
It's
for
not just
Republicans, I'm
Republicans.
saying Democrats would be welcome as well. It's a school on on the ins and outs of running for office.
Yeah, and it tells you how you've got to file and how you have to keep your records and how you
Manage your campaign reports and all the stuff that's required of the state and the federal government.
There might be like a quick lecture by Clara Ramos on how to keep up with all your filing and make sure everything's done on time. Something like that could happen. 8:30 to 3, 115 South Main, sunny Victoria, Texas.
They got room for a few more. They're looking for about 20 people for the class, and I think they're sitting at around 12. So eight more folks get involved. And,
Whoa.
check it
H.R. Mallory coming in hot. Everything is on the November ballot each year. Primaries in March, if the race requires it. One runoff election for March and November. Well, there you have it.
No, but no, we just had
Mr.
like 8 runoffs for
Don't
congressional seat
question
here.
Mr. Civics. I mean,
John Davis, good morning.
I did not know that, HR. I really didn't. I'm not being silly.
So Lisa Poole checking in. Lisa, the chickens have started laying again, so just thought you'd want to know.
So I asked you a good question this morning. It was a legitimate question. I'm very blessed. Ash on occasion will bring me, hot off the press, straight from the chicken, a dozen eggs. I don't understand. Now, the price of eggs has gone up, and the price of eggs has gone way up. But I need somebody out there to explain to me how you'll go to your local HEB and you might pay $12-15 for a little piece of beef to cook. You might pay.
I wish you could pay
Okay.
$12-15. That's with that little yellow sticker on it saying that if you don't cook it by 6 o'clock tonight,
You're making
it's green and no
yes, sir.
good.
You're helping. You just cut the green part off. You're helping me make my point.
That's called wet aged beef.
Why is it that the primary protein source of a healthy breakfast. I mean, somebody explain to me why eggs shouldn't be at least 50 cents a piece. 2 eggs for $1 fried. I mean, why not? $6 a dozen. Yeah, you can buy eggs all day long for $1.99, $2.20 a dozen, something like that. The eggs are cheap. Eggs are a great protein source. I mean, what are we having tonight? Well, we're going to have steak and mashed potatoes, but we're having eggs and mashed potatoes. It's a better protein.
Put an egg in your mashed potatoes.
Yeah, well, there you go. Lorena Bargerbrook says they don't require slaughtering. There you go. A country girl can survive. Lorena walking around with a knife in her teeth. Well, like I've told you before, Ash had a couple of years ago, he had his eggs, they weren't forthcoming. He had these 13 chickens and they weren't laying eggs. And I said, all you got to do is get one of them. Get that one that's he's got one that's got like a tumor on its head.
Not anymore.
Right. I said, did it die?
No, yes.
Okay. I said, what you do is if you have to put one down, you put it out there and use a machete, just lob eggs. Double yolks, man. They ain't messing around.
Oh, but no, I mean, they are a relatively cheap source of protein.
Right.
And sustenance.
Oh, H.R. Mallory said that's not the way it is. That's the way it needs to be. Not a May election for city council, mayor followed by a special election, followed by a runoff. I agree with you, H.R., completely. Yeah. Mostly because you wear a gun. So much easier to agree with the guy with the gun. Have you seen, Victoria, have you seen anybody utilizing their constitutional right to open carry? Have you seen that in our city? It looked like law enforcement to me. You know, I just thought that's interesting because even with law enforcement, you don't usually
what gave it away? The uniform and the badge?
The badge had a lot to do. No, but you don't usually see now everything you see on our LEOs is tactical gear. It's black, the black pistols, unless you're Roy Boyd or Sheriff Louderback, who Boyd carries more of a ceremonial weapon, you know, and then Sheriff Louderback may carry one of his 1911s, and he has a saddle leather holster. But this gentleman had a 10.578 6300. That's your go-to toe-to. Allen's Wrecker Service. Allen's Wrecker Service. 578 6300. The VCS company is our banner sponsor. Captains of Quality right here in Victoria, Texas. Whether you need a two-way radio, a ranch radio, whether you're a first responder who needs to be on FirstNet, you need surveillance, surround sound security. You need a phone, 1080p video camera that you can zoom on your front porch. These folks pioneered. Do you remember the Video Doorbell Pro? They pioneered that long before
all these other come Johnny come latelys.
Reach out to the VCS companies and see what's going to be at the box stores in 2 years. Chesnick Furniture Company, we already talked about their location on 115 South Main, but how about 116 West Wandland, the corner of Wandland and Bridge?
Just around the corner from where they were.
70 plus years in downtown Victoria. Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours, showing you why people say
Chesnick and Love make your house a home.
And you just do better at Chesnick.
And today is called a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Our favorite day of the week.
Yep.
Get into Veracruz today. They sell out every Wednesday, so you need to get in early. If you're going to go for lunch today, I advise you go a half hour earlier, 11:30.
Oh yeah, it's a great
and
spot.
You'll get a big heaping steaming bowl of caldo. Because I've done it. I've taken a late lunch, like not gotten there till 12:30. Done, no caldo, and it just ruined the rest of my day.
James Kerr says one word, 2 syllables, China.
Yeah.
That's why eggs are so cheap.
That's exactly why they're so cheap. So
we don't get eggs from China, do we?
No, but I think they own most of our chicken.
Do they really? Why don't we just take that back? We're not gonna take it. Let's do
that. Speaking of we're not going to take it, pet owners in Victoria, loud and clear, told the city that they didn't like the proposed ordinance that they introduced at the end of August, and the city wisely, in a move that you just don't typically see from elected officials anywhere, and I applaud the city for doing this, stopped the process, said, whoa, we're getting this kind of feedback from one reading. We probably need to listen to the folks. So they had a town hall last night, and it was fairly well attended. They've got another one tomorrow, at the Community Center Annex at 6:30. So people who want to weigh in, you can also learn why the city has gotten to this point, which is valuable. So you can understand the reasoning. But they've got opportunities for you to provide your input. They've also got a survey that is open until Friday, and that's at surveymonkey.com. There's a whole bunch of letters and numbers after it, but I bet you if you went to surveymonkey.com and searched Victoria, Texas pet ordinance, you'd find it.
The key thing here is I took a jab at, and it was playful. It's always, we try to stir things up with Bill Posey because we're much more kind and gentle here on the Wade and Carter program. But I applaud the city council and Mayor Balknight for just, Ash calls it pumping the brakes, but a lot of people have said, well, why don't we just enforce the laws we've got? Why do we need to add to it? And while there is some truth in that, probably, the idea that they want to firm up and tighten up this ordinance, the fact that there are things on the books allow them to pump the brakes, get feedback from the public, and make sure they get it right, because people really do care about their pets.
Yeah. Speaking of getting it right, tomorrow's town hall is at 6 o'clock, not 6:30. Last night's was 6:30. So tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Community Center Annex for you to give your feedback.
Very nice to see. And this is, I think, a continuation. It's not a hugely significant thing, but it's worth noting that Jeff Balknight had told me that he was committed to the and you know, I like the lack of drama. I like the fact that everybody's pulling in the same direction. We have a great city council. We're going the right direction. So I applaud the council and Mayor Balknight for saying, hey, let's do this cooperatively. We don't need to assert any authority here, and let's work together. So hats off to them. It's in the little things that you learn where their hearts are on the big picture. So good for them.
And yesterday they heard from animal rescuers, they heard from pet owners, they heard from owners of, rescue dogs, owners of registered breeds. It was, everybody was out, talking
and good,
about it. So,
good to listen together. By the way, most people love animals. It's not like you're not going to have representation at that meeting of the pet haters of America.
no.
So the people that are there say, they're now playing, Division I football and all that, and they have one of them from using it at their athletic events. Now, Kevin Eltide, chairman of the Board of Regents at the University of Texas, Maine, the mothership in Austin, has strongly advised them that in the future, before you start making policy that affects the perception of the University of Texas at large, is being attacked at the collegiate level.
Well, speaking of flags and history, there was a school district in the state of Washington that stopped their 9/11 memorial that was going to take place before the football game, or as part of the opening celebration of the football game, because they felt that it was too divisive and that the symbols of patriotism would have reminded too many people of Donald Trump. Listen to this.
Are you serious?
Listen to this crap.
Trump was just a New York guy in 2000.
Dear members of the LWSD community, this past weekend we recognized the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I'm writing this message in response to events on Friday involving spirit wear at an Eastlake High School football game and subsequent media attention and public response to that situation. Over the past 24 hours, I've heard from United States military veterans, New York police and fire workers, and other concerned individuals, both locally and from across the country, expressing how the situation at Eastlake School personally affected them. I was a fourth grade teacher on September 11, 2001. I heard the news of the Twin Towers as I drove into work, and I had to figure out how, in real time, how to manage that day. What I know is that I was personally distraught, yet had to try and make decisions to support my young students on that day. As a country, we recognize the 20th anniversary of 9/11 attacks this last weekend. Each first responder who was called into action on that day has our utmost regard and respect. Each military member, la, 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 la. So covering his ass right off the start, or hers, I don't know. I've always been humbled by the men and women that chose to serve both here and abroad. While there was no ill intent behind the decision to Eastlake High School to change their plan for a themed event, we acknowledge that the impact on many has spurred strong emotions. As we move forward, we will review the processes used to make sure such determinations and ensure appropriate protocols are in place for similar decisions to be made in the future.
She goes on, and that's got to be a
Dr.
woman.
John Holman.
Oh, is it John or John? Johnny.
John.
John's wordy.
There were, and this was from a friend, a listener of ours too, that has coworkers who coached at the school who have resigned in the wake of this.
Good.
Said that there were staff members who stopped the ceremony because they felt like the red, white, blue, and emphasis on the flag was a tribute to Trump. So you had butt-hurt teachers and staff at this school
politicizing an event that happened 2 decades before Trump was, or a decade and a half before Trump was in office.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Which just, I mean, does that mean, can you only be a Trump supporter and a Republican and be patriotic? If you're that triggered by the American flag and a tribute to the worst terrorist attack on the shores of this country in history,
except for our current southern border.
That's not really a terrorist attack, but what? Different kind. But anyway, if you're that triggered by it, I don't know.
Nobody is. That's the whole point.
What hope there is for
it's fake outrage.
It is fake outrage.
Proposed. It's where I'm going to hurt.
You're creating a controversy here where none existed.
Yeah, you're too stupid to figure this out, so I'm going to feel bad for you.
Chris Conrad, great point. Trump was still a Democrat in 2001.
That's exactly the truth.
Yeah. And John Davis says Trump sent over 200 of his workers to help with search and rescue efforts in Manhattan.
Yeah. Long before he was running for president.
Yeah.
So, hey, we got a caller. What could top this morning? What could make today any better than it's already been? We've got a caller. Hello, caller. Who we got? You have got. Please hold. Please hold. Let me find the right people for you to talk to. Hang on a second. Anybody seen Wade Carter around anywhere? Okay, Colonel, we're here.
How are you, sir?
We're doing very well.
Dodged a bullet this past week, earlier in the week with Nicholas, and we're glad for that. But we're thinking of those that are now. I got friends in Louisiana that are getting drenched again. So.